us, focusing on the invisible battles our heroes face: mental health, homelessness, and reintegration challenges. Over the past 3 years, we've shared stories of resilience and hope. This year, we're amplifying our mission, spotlighting 4 incredible organizations that are making a real impact. The donations and sponsorships will go to helping these groups, providing critical resources to all of our heroes, both country and community. You can help too. Share your story, partner with us, or become a sponsor. Every contribution counts, whether it's time, funds, or spreading the word. Join us on February 22nd for a day of hope, healing, and change, because helping one hero means helping us all. For more information, visit the website or contact Zach Clayton at zach@communitypayitforward.us. Once again, that's Zach, Z-A-K, at communitypayitforward.us. Hello, everyone. My name is Zach Clayton, and I need your help for an upcoming event called Mission for Healthy Heroes. This 4th year of our 22-hour podcast is happening on February 22nd, 2025, and is dedicated to tackling one of the most pressing issues facing our critical country and community heroes today: suicide prevention and mental health. We're bringing together experts, advocates, and individuals who live with experience to have an honest and impactful conversation about challenges our heroes face and how we as a community can help. For our communities, these tragedies often stem from complex factors like mental health challenges, including PTSD, depression, and substance abuse, family strain, and feelings of isolation when transitioning to civilian life, career stressors like financial instability or workplace difficulties, easy access to firearms during moments of crisis, and systemic barriers like the stigma around asking for help and gaps in support systems. This is a problem that needs us all: professionals, advocates, families, and communities working together to find solutions. That's why I'm reaching out to you. We're looking for guest speakers to join this important conversation. Whether you're a mental health professional who works with our heroes, family members or spouses who understand the challenges of this complex family lifestyle, advocates or nonprofit leaders supporting our heroes, researchers or policy experts working on systemic solutions, or a survivor who can share your personal story. We need to hear from you. Your voice and expertise could save lives by helping us shed the light on these issues and explore meaningful solutions. If you are interested in participating, know someone who should be part of this discussion, please reach out to me directly. You can use the information found right below me or by scanning this QR code. You can sponsor, you can volunteer, you can speak, and you can save lives. Because together we can create a powerful conversation that drives awareness and action. Let's honor our heroes by supporting them when they need us the most. Thank you for watching this short video, and thank you for caring about our hero community. Let's work together to make a real difference. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you. Again, scan the QR code or use the information below, and let's make action count. Introducing Shop, Click, and Pick, the simplest way to support those doing good in communities everywhere. We understand that shopping is a necessity, but with a slight adjustment, you can make a huge difference without spending any extra money. Here's how it works. Please visit communitypayitforward.us and navigate to the Find Your Partners tab. Discover our verified giving partners, which are trusted allies ready to meet your needs. Shop with any of the partners that resonate with you. Click a picture of the receipt or invoice, then pick the mission partner you wish to support and use their QR code to send the receipt directly to us. After that, all you have to do is sit back and enjoy your purchases, knowing that you've made a meaningful change for someone in need. Community Pay It Forward amplifies your business's impact by sharing the story of those who require your services, rallying support for those who need us all. Because no one needs to go it alone when we all come together. Hey everybody, how's it going? Zach Clayton, Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the PAC channel. First thing I want to do is I want to say thank you so much to Sam and his group at Autism Rocks and Rolls. Got my shirt. I was a guest on your podcast. Had one hell of a time doing it. I think it's a great format. Sam gets out there and kicks butt every day, even though he is battling with autism. He doesn't let it slow him down. It doesn't mean he's any different. It just means he does things different, which means what? It means he's a human being, because every single one of us has something that we have to deal with every single day. So, Sam, loved being on your show. Cannot wait to get you right here on Pact. Hopefully, we're going to get that done in the next couple weeks as soon as we get done with this mission program, which we are reloving our mission programs sections from last year. And today we're going to be talking to web detective Trevor Gibbs. We're going to be talking to Siobhan Cunningham of Empowering Women Veterans, and meeting Mr. Eric Maxwell, which I need to get back a hold of him because he was a great guest and I'd like to see what we can do to support him more. But we're going to be talking, we're going to be reliving that episode today. Let's see, what do I want to talk about? I think the first thing I want to talk about is I'm looking at right now. Okay, I'm in the middle of changing up the office, so please forgive all the mess. I've got a sick fish, so I had to take him out of the aquarium, and now he's sitting over here inside of another little aquarium. He's not just sitting there. That'd be kind of cool, though, having a fish just kind of sitting there waiting for me, flicking his cigar or whatever. But anyway, we've got Scotty sitting over there in his own little aquarium right now, trying to get rid of his dropsy. So he's kind of lonely, but he's a beta. They're not supposed to, be the friendliest fish in the world anyway, even though he is. He gets along with all the other fish. So, but hopefully here in the next week we can get him back home and clear off the desk a little bit. But it is kind of funny because I'm looking at the video that you guys are going to be watching, and it is so strange now watching in 1 year how many things have changed. With the background, I used to have this thing right here behind me. I had the tank over in this area, and it was a smaller tank that was over here. It's just a little 35 gallon rather than the 47 I've got now. But yeah, so many differences thanks to a flood. There was also carpet on the ground at that point in time. No longer carpet on the ground because, well, our lovely flood weather. We have a couple announcements that I want to make for the mission. And I want to thank and I really want to take a second and show my appreciation to a couple people. Carolyn Rasmussen for Form My Card. Carolyn, I want to thank you so much for everything that you've done with us, for us, and in support of us. By the way, you can see what a For My Card is, and you can check out my For My Card by going up here, scanning this QR code. Carolyn Rasmussen is going to be giving away 3 one-year For My Card memberships. That's $180 in value. We're going to be giving away 3 of them during the show, during the 22-hour show. So 3 of them are going to be going away. We're going to be selling tickets for $15 a piece and just drawing names out of a hat. That's what we're going to be doing. We're not going to be auctioning. We're not going to be doing any of that other garbage. It's too much. And then the people who are donating are going to be sending it directly to you, so that way they can see who's supporting them and all of that stuff. And it's going to help us tremendously. I got another wonderful gift this morning when I opened up LinkedIn. And my friend, my partner, my brother, Santa Papa John. Santa Papa John is going to be giving away a 1-hour story time for someone in your family who needs help. Or you can, of course, donate it to somebody else. But Santa Papa John is going to be recording just like we record right here. He's going to be recording a show so you can share it with your family members. He's going to be donating. That's $100 value that you're going to be able to get for like a $10, $15 ticket price. Somebody's going to win that. So I want to thank you, Santa Papa John. We've also got some artwork that's going to be coming out, a signed print from a well-known photographer. We are trying to get that all done. I do still have some books that we're going to be giving away from Travel Channel's Reverend Sean Winnington. So we do still have some things that are going to be coming up. We've got some wonderful things happening, and this is all in support of our program, the Mission for Healthy Heroes. Hello, my name is Zach Clayton with Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the PAC channels. I'd like to take a real quick minute to tell you why we have created a mission for healthy heroes. First responders are our everyday heroes, rushing towards danger when others step away. But behind the bravery lies a silent struggle with mental health. Research shows that 85% of first responders experience mental health challenges, like depression and PTSD. These conditions are significantly more common amongst them than in the general population. Did you know that 35% of police officers and up to 24% of 911 dispatchers live with PTSD? And tragically, first responders are more likely to die by suicide than in the line of duty. In 2017 alone, 103 firefighters and 140 police officers died by suicide. In comparison, 93 firefighters and 129 officers were killed in the line of duty. These numbers are heartbreaking. and they highlight the urgent need for mental health support. Yet many remain reluctant to seek help due to the stigma, concerns about confidentiality, and fear of career consequences. Mental health matters. Support our first responders. Together, we can make a difference. Join us on February 22nd for a mission for healthy heroes. Visit communitypayitforward.us/mission for healthy heroes or use the QR code above to become a sponsor today. My name is Zach Clayton, and I hope you join us. Thank you. Again, amazing. Three different groups, three different things, one mission. We're supporting people who served our country. We're supporting people who feel difficult times, who go through difficult times, who are having issues. So we will be starting here again in just a minute, about 3 minutes and 50 seconds. I got to get up and walk around and make sure that my legs that are now fully asleep start working again. We are starting hour 9 already, hour 9. So, hey, I'm working overtime. It's not really work. I'm annoying overtime. How's that? So, but we're going to keep this up. We've still got an hour or two to go. Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah, another 12 hours. but you know what? The stories that we're hearing, the quality of the people who have joined us this year, it's just impeccable, and I'm thrilled to be doing this once again. So, but I want one more time, I really want to give thanks to everyone who's participated and everyone who's still to come. So from me to you, for allowing me to do what we're doing, please scan the QR code. You can really help out a lot of organizations. You're going to meet another one of those organizations as soon as we get back from this quick 3-minute break. Again, thank you for everything that you are doing. Thank you for sharing the stories, and thank you for supporting the community mission to serve our veterans. I hit the wrong thing, so hold on just a minute. Yep, the mind is the first thing to go, and I'm losing mine. So, but here we go. Thank you for participating in the community mission to serve our veterans. And again, thank you for everything or anything that you guys are doing. Um, thank you for participating. Thank you for look. This is turned out so far to be the best one yet. Um, and that's really hard because the other ones were so good. The other ones, look, every single one of them, I guess they're kind of like my kids. You know, I'm going to love every single one of them for some reason. And another thing is that boy, they're tiring. I mean, they're wonderful. Tiring. What am I, a rookie at this? So, welcome all to hour 9 of the community mission to serve our veterans. Yeah, just received a bit of personal bad news, and it's um, kind of on topic. I got a father who right now is suffering with a very, very serious problem. And he just went to go and try to get it fixed. And of course, they're not taking his insurance. My father was a Vietnam era vet. He wasn't in Vietnam. He was in Berlin at the time. But he can't get he left here in a walker because he couldn't walk, and he can't get fixed. He can't get the surgery right now. It so aggravating sometimes, and I think this is one of the reasons why we've got to find a way to get around this. So yeah, like I said, this is just a little infuriating for me because I love the man, but it sure would be nice if we could figure out this whole VA process and all the insurance things that are going on. We have lost our connection to my LinkedIn page. Hopefully we'll get that back up, but we're going to be bringing on 3 guests at the same time this hour because I really want to make sure that we get them all on. First, the first one to join us is another one of our wonderful mission partners that we are talking to, and that we're trying to help. She runs a program that it focuses on women veterans, which is something that I was trying desperately to make sure that we had this out there, because look, women are going to have different needs, and we need to make sure that we're honoring those needs. So I'm proud to introduce Siobhan Cunningham. How are you doing, sweetheart?
Hi, Zach. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Well,
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
I absolutely am thrilled that you were able to make it. Our next participant on the well, for me it's 11 o'clock holiday, or God, I said that again. Hollywood Squares is a really good friend of mine, brother in the Giving Partners, Mr. Trevor Web Detective Gibbs. How you doing, sir?
Doing very well, thank you. How about yourself?
That's a classy hat you got going there.
Well, if you go by the web detective, you've got to look like this guy over here, haven't you, really?
Yeah.
So, otherwise, how else do you think that I'm known as the web detective?
Yeah, well, there you go. You know what? I need to go and grab my I need to go grab my prospector's hat.
Go for it.
Yeah, I don't think it'll go with the tie. So,
no,
and then
it
also,
probably won't.
Yeah, and then also joining us is a good friend. I talked to him a couple times. He's got a great story to share with us, Mr. Eric Maxwell. How you doing, brother?
Hey Zach, I'm doing well. I appreciate you guys having me on and look forward to the conversation.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to have you here. I'm glad to have you part of this mission. So, we are 9 hours in, and every story that we've heard today is just, again, there are some sad parts to every story, but then the outcomes are, look, we're looking for that positive outcome. And so we're going to be talking together and find out if we can come up with any way that we can support other people. So Siobhan, let's start with you. Can you please tell us a little bit about empowering women veterans? Or empower women veterans, I'm sorry.
Oh, yes. I hope you can hear me okay. Yes, that's okay, Zach. I hope you can hear me okay. It's saying my internet connection is a little unstable. I am here in Alaska and we're going through a bit of interesting weather, so bear with me. Empower Women Veterans started because I was a social work officer in the Air Force. And then when I got out, I'm still doing therapy in the community, both with veterans and active duty and their families. And one thing I noticed was that there are a lot of issues that women were not necessarily interested in talking about in a setting where there were men present. And I know this from firsthand experience because I did treatment in inpatient settings. I've had participated in being a peer support leader for other veterans. And I did know.
Oh, no. Hopefully we'll get her to come right back on. Eric, let's talk a little bit about who you are. Give us a little bit of a background, please.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Eric Maxwell. Spent the last 20 years in the Marine Corps in MARSOC, the Marine Special Operations unit within the Marine Corps. Looking at retiring now, and really starting my own business that focuses on wellness and mental health. Initially, looking at some of the struggles in the military that I had, but quickly realized that this goes beyond just military personnel. It's a national issue, and so really I'm focusing on coaching, wellness, and doing so through leadership, servant leadership. And I believe that leadership has a big part of our workforce culture, and has a huge impact on the employee wellness.
Well, I know that you've got a lot of irons in the fire, and so we're glad to have you with us. We've got Siobhan who's joined us again.
Great.
We lost you there right in mid sentence, but if you want to go on ahead and continue, we just met Eric a little bit, and then we'll get to the web detective right after that.
Oh, yes. So while I am a therapist in training, the Empowerment Veterans is not necessarily a therapy movement, a mental health movement. It's more about normalizing in general trauma education. Everyone experiences traumatic events, no matter what. It's just a part of life. So a lot of my history is in trauma, and I figured out a way to explain it in a way that is not as that is more empowering. And so Empower Women Veterans helps with getting that education out there through Armed with Ambition podcast. And then we have an online community where we can provide a space for that maybe address some of the issues that
Okay, well, I welcome you. Yeah, unfortunately, you're a little unstable with the internet, but we're going to work with it. We need to hear as much from you as possible. We really want to get your story out there. So, Trevor, my friend, you and I have been connected now for over 3 years. You do a lot for the people who are in the world of differently abled, with impediments due to something that has happened or birth. What First off, tell us a little bit about what you do. And then I'm going to ask you a question I don't think I've ever asked you before. Why?
Why? Okay. Maybe I'll start with that one. I always like to do things that
What did you think I was going to ask you? What the hell happened to your hair? Is that what you're...
No.
You've already asked that one, and it's the same thing that happened to yours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's running south for the winter.
exactly. You see, look, it's all here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I can grow it vertically down. It's just vertically up is the problem.
Vertically
But-
enabled.
You're vertically enabled, or unabled at the moment. So no, the why. Well, a lot of people have asked me this, and most of it always comes down to the individual. You know, if you've got a heart to help somebody, and somebody pointed this out to me a little while back, says you've been a carer for disabled parents. You've always looked out for people. You've helped people that people just pass by on the street. Why is that? And I'm like, I don't know. Is it a Christian thing to do? Is it a humanity thing to do? And I'll come down on the humanity side first and foremost, because I think if you start going other routes, it's not. If you've got a good heart, a big heart, it doesn't matter. You can help everybody, and that's where I do that. I love to make sure that everybody's doing it the right way. I'm a little bit of a stickler for the rules, but I do it in a nice way. You know, I'm very analytical, as you know. I've got to dot my I's and cross my T's for those who have crossed their I's and dotted their T's. You know, does it mean the same thing? Yes. But when it comes down to, are you going to get in trouble? That's where I'm here to help. I'm to try to alleviate you getting into trouble. So that's the main reason why. What do I do? Well, today I go by the Web Detective. The Web Detective is primarily here to help to look after your brand and service your brand, because everybody today, we're online, everybody's going to Google check you. And we want to know that the person that we're checking with, and if it's like Eric or Siobhan or even yourself, Zach, I'm going to Google verify you. And if I can't get a good impression, why am I going to give you the two most important things in my life that's going to affect anybody else's life? The first one is time. How do you expect me to share time with you? And if I like you and I've built up that reputation of trust, I may actually give you money too. I'm not saying why I'm going to give you money, but the reason is they're the two main reasons that anybody on this earth needs help. Is because we need somebody caring, somebody who's got some time, and hopefully they can back that up in a financial sense, whether it's we purchase something for them or we donate to a charity who's doing it on our behalf. So I've been a marketer for what, 24 years now. And I found that the most rewarding is to help those small businesses with challenges that they may be unaware of, but also people with a form of disability where they need access to information. Everything's online. I make sure that that information is accessible.
You know, we talk quite often, Trevor, about how it makes sense to make sure that everybody can access your website. As a business owner, why would you want somebody to come to your website and go, well, I can't look the movement on the screen, I can't watch it because it is, it's difficult for me to look at, so I'm going to go to their competitors. Why would you not do something about that to not only make it available to them, but to maintain that sale? I mean, why would you not make that extra effort? Oh, and by the way, potentially save yourself a lot of money from unscrupulous lawyers out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't want to get into that one. Well, if you think about it, it's the biggest failing that most people make when they're doing a website or advertising is biased content. It was either written for you or written by you. It wasn't written for the people that you intended to serve. That's part of the biggest problem. That's why you don't do it. So if we were to look at a motion picture and it's got a fish tank with bubbles in it, some of us are just going to sit here and look at those bubbles all day long. Now, okay, I love looking at bubbles. It's relaxing. But oh, what happened? Shiny squirrel ran across the screen. But some of us can lose attention very quickly. Now, if we have a website that is distracting, and I'm there and I've got a limited amount of time, I may become frustrated. I may become annoyed to the point that let me leave. Let me go to a competitor. That might be a very simple reason to do it. Might be font size. It might be coloring. Might just be poorly written content.
The
Now,
font.
The
The
font
font is the
size.
big one that I see problems with a lot of times.
Yeah. And the reason why business owners might not do that because they haven't thought beyond themselves, first of all, because the wording is wrong. But let me put this stat in there for you. Why would you dismiss a community that spends around $460 billion a year online? There is one other group who actually spend more than that. And I'll mention those because they can actually help us. In fact, they don't spend the money. They're influencers. They're called teenagers. They tell their parents what to spend the money on. But the second largest group, and I'm concerned they are the first major group that spends money, is the disability community. Because when we think about that, it's not just somebody maybe sat in a wheelchair, which is the obvious thing we think about disability. It could be somebody, migraines is debilitating. Old age can be debilitating, especially when it's to come to a website content and information. Now you think about, well, every one of us at some point is going to come to the point where we need some extra assistance. If I have the option to go to your website and change the parameters so it suits my style, my preferences, I'm going to be engaged with you because you as a business owner have actually said, welcome all. I've given it a style in which I like to present and color my website. But if you don't like it, don't go away. Remove the color, change the font sizes.
Yeah.
Give people options. That tells people you want to engage with them. We can't say if I dislike color blindness, well, if I can't see red, does that mean I'm going to go away? No, all right, sorry about that. But I can't accommodate everybody, but I accommodate you all if you just take the selection and choose what you want. And the one thing I've noticed being the non-American here today is that America is full of choices. So let's give people choices.
I love it. Siobhan, I got a question for you. Okay, from what you just heard and what Trevor's trying to do, make everything accessible and acceptable even. What can we do to empower women in any way when it comes to businesses?
Yeah, I think that I don't think necessarily anyone serves so they with the expectation of being thanked for their service. However, there is an assumption that if a woman did serve, they may not have done combat or they may not have been in very challenging situations. So instead of just simply thanking a veteran, any veteran really, for their service, why not take a next step and ask, "Oh, did you tell me about your service? What did you do?" And see how that might feel, or just ask more about that service, because I think that's often part of that invisible population. And if you want to gain trust from a person who might have served in general, it's nice to show an interest in their potential service, but do it in a way that's conversational, because not everyone's experience is, um, you know, a reflection of what you may think it is when you think of it. Everyone's experience is different. So just as everyone's experience with their disability is different, everyone's experience in the service is different.
Yeah. Eric, what are you working for? And you are on the cyber. You're on security, right? You're working towards security. Or I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Yeah, no, everything that I'm working on right now is towards employee wellness and leadership, and
Oh,
really,
geez.
yeah.
I've
done
talked
some
to a
cyber
person
stuff.
or two, but yeah. What are some of the biggest complaints that you're hearing when it comes to, maybe somebody is having trouble readjusting or getting into websites or getting into companies, and they're having complaints and they're not feeling like they're being shown enough respect, or they're just having even difficulties understanding it.
Yeah, I mean, for the military people out there, that's a big issue always, because we've, especially those, I've been doing it for 20 years. That's my whole life, right? And we know a certain culture, we know a certain lingo, and so now when you're looking to businesses, how can I relate to whatever contents on that website? I don't understand half of the business terminology that they use, and so for me, going the opposite way now, and I think Trevor kind of talked about it, is I've got to think about, who is my audience? How are they going to receive what I'm saying? Am I using too many military acronyms and jargon that not the average person is going to understand? And so I think it's just communication and culture.
If what do we and is that more of an issue when, like, a civilian goes to work with veterans and they start to talk, and then it gets frustrated because the civilian doesn't understand the lingo? And is there really a way to change that? Because I mean, I guess it's kind of like, if I'm talking about hockey to somebody who's never watched the game,
Hmm.
you
Yeah,
know,
I mean,
I'm going to use terms that they're going to sit there and what the hell's a slew foot?
yeah,
What-
it's a good question because I don't know that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you're right. Everyone has cultures, even microcultures within organizations. And so I think, to me, I like to keep things very simple, but it just comes down to being a good human being, like acknowledging that everyone's different. I know in a lot of civilian organizations, there's a stereotype of military people that, they come in and they're very rigid and they just want to yell at everybody, but everyone has their own experiences, everyone has their own culture, and, you just have to understand yourself first of all, and then, how you can get along and communicate with the other people on wherever they're at in their journey.
That's great. And I beg of all three of you, if you all have any questions, let's turn this into like the round table now. And let's make sure that we ask any questions of anybody. So does anybody have a question for someone?
Yeah, I'll go.
Yeah.
Uh, Shabbat, I'm very interested in your empowering women project that you're working on, and so, specifically for the veterans, are you offering coaching services? Are you offering, other means of support to these women that are looking for, whatever that may be, empowerment for them?
Yes, right now I have the Armed with Ambition podcast. Thank you, Eric, for asking. I'm in partnership with Military Veterans in Journalism, to
Mhm.
help support the funding. And so the focus on the Armed with Ambition podcast, it's on my YouTube channel at Empower Women Veterans. And right now we're talking more about trauma education and understanding making meaning out of life. And then the companion to that is the Empower Women Veterans Patreon community. And it's at an affordable price. And that's what the money we're raising here is for, to help provide scholarship for members who want to join and maybe cannot afford to join and want to try it out. And so in there, you have access to me. Again, I have over 20 years of mental health experience. I'm a military veteran myself, and I'm an Army brat. So I'm very ingrained in the community. It is my community. And I just wanted a safe space for women to come and be able to maybe touch on some things that may be stopping them from having that successful business, feeling the same level of achievement that they may have felt when they were active duty, and then also being around people who understand the culture and the lingo, but
Mhm.
also maybe it's not their experience as a civilian or as a veteran is not necessarily the same as
Hmm.
a man who served or someone else who served. So that access to me, it's still an evolving community, but I'm in there and you can have access to me if you join the Patreon.
Yeah, no, that's huge. I mean, especially the work with you do with trauma and supporting kind of their self actualization. I found in my own personal experiences, and then everything that I've been doing in the wellness space is you know overcoming the trauma is kind of the first step to like finding that fulfillment to yourself and you know that self actualization. So it's outstanding.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel a little embarrassed because my website is up and I have the web detective on here.
No,
No judgment.
Well, it's okay. You just passed because you got a like mine. Look at that.
Yeah.
no, there you go. Uh, Siobhan, what is the biggest block for women to talk about some of their issues that they may be having?
I find this consistent with because right now I'm working with a lot of soldiers. And I call it men and women, and I call it the leaky box. When we're active duty, we're so good at compartmentalizing, and even as military children, we learn to compartmentalize because we reflect what our parents do, which is usually a lot of that compartmentalization, holding in your emotions, and oftentimes big explosive arguments. But that's a different topic. And so the call it the leaky box. We think, or when we're active duty, we believe that box that we're compartmentalizing things are made of steel, when in fact they're just normal cardboard boxes, and they wear and tear over time, and all that stuff starts to ooze out. And we're functioning on the idea that no, we have a steel box, but the box was never meant to be made of steel. And if it was actually steel, there would be more issues, right? It's too heavy to move. How do you get it open? So if it's a normal box, then it makes a little bit more sense that we're packing our emotions and our memories in something that was meant to be opened and explored and redistributed. And so this is what I mean by trauma education. We think that we watch movies like Jarhead or going back to Platoon, just all these war movies about how we're supposed to handle war. And it's not necessarily touching on, okay, how do we actually handle things? There's the immediate time when we come back, and then not everyone has trauma only related to war and military service. And so it really is just understanding that everybody has their stuff, everyone has it packed in some box. Let's figure out how to unpack and sort it.
Okay. And is there anybody else who wants to ask any questions real quick?
Well, go ahead, Siobhan, please.
Yes. So you'd mentioned the Disabilities Act and having to change your website so that it's easily accessible for someone. What resources are available for someone to know if they're on par with making that happen, or how they can get those features on their website so that it is more friendly to people who may have color blindness, vision issues, things that we haven't even thought of.
Yeah, it's a very good question. And because even though the ADA is 32 years old now, and now they've recently, over the last few years, to actually state that the ADA law does comply to websites, it's still relatively new on how to get a website accessible. Now, there's something called the Website Content Accessibility Guidelines. I think they're up to about 2.2, 2.1 at the moment. Now, those guidelines are really designed to help web developers and anybody else creating content online or building systems on how the system should be built. So business owners or anybody else should not have to go through the process of making what was made wrong correct. But because we're in that transition state, and I do hope that all future web developers actually take those guidelines and learn that first before they learn how to do one piece of coding, because we won't need lawsuits, we will not need plugins, we will not need outdated systems, and should we go to the wrong end of it, lawsuits that come in because either somebody's found a plugin from a web platform and it's out of date. You know, the biggest problem with this is keeping things up to date. So where would you go? Well, you could ask the web detective. If you've got a web designer, ask them what they do and ask them, do I have to pay for this service? And like everything in life, if they say, oh no, there's something free out there, stay away from it, because it's only going to bring you more trouble. The reason is most of the free things that you get are only up to the standards which changed either in 2001 or 2018. We're 5 years on. It's already changed twice since then. So if the web developer doesn't know much about it, find an expert who does. And usually if you do a little bit of research online, you can find companies who are selling solutions, but find the one that maybe offer professional help to do that. People that are going to maybe remediate documents online. That's very important. If they know how to remediate a document or think about videos, then you know this company or this person knows what's to be done. So that's probably the easiest generic way of finding something, but always seek out a professional, as professional as you can. And if you can't not do that, go the opposite end. Go to the law firms who are prosecuting and ask them, where would they recommend you go so that you don't have a lawsuit? Which companies are providing good service to avoid the lawsuits? So if you start from the opposite side, they should give you good advice, independent advice to who you should talk to, what companies are working well. Now, if you get to the company, they offer you a solution, you don't know how to work with it or what to do with it, then you can reach out to your web developer or the third person to work with to actually help you as the business owner to integrate that into your systems. Does that help?
Yes, thank you. And then a web developer is different than like a web designer, or is that
Yes.
okay?
Just by the terminology of itself, a web developer codes, a web designer makes it look pretty. A web builder, which side of the fence do they come on? Well, they might say they do both. Well, they tend to design and put pieces of puzzle together to make a website. You need somebody who maybe knows how to change some coding on any of those platforms, even if you go to the free ones or the AI built ones. Now, AI is coming in. A lot of people will say, let AI build it, but it only builds what you know. It doesn't fill in the gaps of what you need to have as compliance. So the AI could be a solution to get something non-tangible into an electronic space and put it online. But if you haven't asked it the right questions about accessibility, you're still going to fail. And there's a lot of marketers out there who know a little of all this, but they don't look at the areas which is most important, and that's protecting the business. Many businesses, marketers and non-marketers, are there for one thing: self-gratifying in earning as much profit as possible. Non-profits tend to be looking after the people or the users that they support. So think about that also. Is it somebody who's willing to help people, or is it somebody that's out there driven by profit? And that might be another way for you to value who you work with or where you get your information from.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Trevor. I know that you had a question for someone.
Yes, and I'm just trying to think, when Siobhan was mentioning about compartmentalizing and considering that most people, when they think of veterans, they have to have served. And this just brings up something where I think, Zach, you were there yesterday and made the comment saying it's not just those who have served in combat that come out with scenarios where they need assistance, or they've been so conditioned, can I use the word conditioned, when being in the military, that when they're out of the military, though that basic training, think about, why is it called basic training? Because we take young developing adults, condition them for a scenario which they may need to enter into, but we don't do basic training for when they're not in that scenario anymore. So now you're left to come out of a organization which is great for defense, but it's horrible for civil life. And unless we've all been through that, America is one of the well, most countries have this. They have a military force behind them, which is made up primarily by volunteers. But how many of us are actually serving war today? You know, World War One, World War Two, the whole world was impacted at the same time. But somewhere around the world today, and we can probably name off 2 or 3 places right now, are actually in the state of war. But 97% of the world is not in war, but we all have military service. And we forget that because we're not served in the war doesn't mean we don't have a problem. We still have a problem, because it was that conditioning that we had built into us through the military organization that didn't consider how we cope afterwards. I'm not saying that there aren't solutions there today, because there are, but that is one of the biggest stumbling blocks. And that's why I admire what Siobhan said about when it comes to women, they don't think about women serving on the battlefield. Well, there are so many roles which they support. I just wanted to take my hat off to her and say thank you very much for doing them.
Hey, Eric, I'd actually kind of like to direct that at you real quick. What are some of the problems that individuals who don't see battle, what are some of the problems that they're having once they get out of service?
Yeah, no, that's a great problem. I mean, I think it probably, some of it starts in service. You know, a lot of especially during my generation coming up, you know, the big time in 9/11, and most everyone joined to be, you know, patriotic and serve and, you know, defend our country. Well, you know, depending on what your job was, some people never made it to fulfill that, you know, reason that they joined. And so a lot of them struggle with that even while in the military. You know, they didn't go to combat, and they didn't do what they, you know, thought was their role, or why they joined. And so I think that's the first thing. um, but still, you know, it is like Trevor had talked about. You get conditioned with the culture, and you know, luckily now I see a big shift in the military, and especially in my organization, of where we are trying to invest more in the mental health and wellness aspects, because we kind of realized, you know, that that's another huge part, not just the training, like the holistic well-being. You have to be there mentally, physically, emotionally, you know, spiritually, all of that. Um, but people do struggle with that. You know, those that haven't been to combat, they still struggle with those things. And I kind of, you know, I looked at it from the civilian workforce, um, you know, point of view. And it doesn't matter. You know, I've seen some awful things in combat, and yes, that affects everyone differently. But it doesn't matter if you've seen those atrocious, you know, things. You could go to work every day and have a bad boss, and
Yeah.
you know, that stress, that continual compounding stress, it is the same effect on your body and mind as the horrors of war that you see. You know, so I agree with Trevor in that, you know, everyone has their own struggles. It doesn't matter, you know, if you've been in combat or not. It's just the human dynamic.
We've only got a little time left before the networking event starts for this year. Siobhan, kind of a loaded question here. What do we need to do better?
Talk, communicate, and not worry about what other people think. I struggled with that getting out of the military. I joined at 29. I was pretty much 30 when I joined. Um, and I had my life pretty together. But because I was so worried about what a good officer is, what a good you know, who I am in the uniform, I kind of lost who I was because I'm kind of a hippie and it doesn't really fit in with the military. And I had this like identity crisis while I was in, and then I had an identity crisis when I got out because I'm a high achiever. I basically got fired and then quit the Air Force. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? And being afraid to talk about failure, even though I had like commanders who sit there and say, like, yeah, you're great. If you fail and you bounce back, that's what's important. Okay, sir, but you're like a general. You obviously bounce back very well.
Mm.
It was just a lot of shame and guilt there. And once I went back to therapy, working with active duty because I avoided it for a few years, active duty and veterans, I realized it's not just me. A lot of these people are having the same thoughts that I'm having, and no one wants to talk about it. So I'll put myself out there and be the one who looked like an idiot. And hopefully, other people will feel better about talking about it and say, like, what I went through maybe was horrible, but I survived, or it wasn't that bad. I can talk about it because she survived. And that's what I'm hoping ultimately everyone gets out of this, not just active duty, not just veterans, civilians, military families, supporters, and so on, is that you can talk about your mistakes. That's part of the healing process, that's part of the growth process, that's part of the learning process.
Yeah.
Well, thank
Could
you.
I jump in, Zach?
Yes.
I mean, because that's a huge thing that you just said, and something that I've had to learn on my journey as well is, and it ties back into the culture and some of the other things that we've talked about, and so far, is you know I'm not this huge machismo tough guy, but like that is the culture that I've lived in for the last 20 years. Like we are those steel boxes that you talked about, Savon, and so like now like having that vulnerability to say like, yeah, you know what, I'm hurting sometimes I cry, sometimes I'm not as strong as this big bad special operations guy, and going to somebody and saying I need help and talking to them, like that's something that has hugely helped me throughout this whole journey that I've been on. And really like you is what I want to give back to other people is like, especially the veterans that deal with this stuff is, hey, like we've been there, like it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to talk about this stuff. Like that's part of the healing process. But no, thanks.
I love it. I end each segment with one question, and that question is kind of fun. If I give you a magic wand that would make everybody work together on one thing, what would that be? Trevor, let's start with you.
I didn't know you were going to pick on me first.
Of course, I'm going to pick on you first.
Yeah, you give everybody else time to think about it.
Damn straight.
Yeah, you know. So let me put it this way: what has been the most common answer so far?
Talk.
Yeah, I was going to say basically going to sound the first way. And Siobhan actually mentioned this is communication. But maybe before communication, we should work on avoiding fear, because most of us have fear at some point by sounding maybe not eloquent enough, might not be sounding knowledgeable enough, may not be sounding important enough. That is the fear that we all have. So I think before the communication, we should all be investing on removing fear to speak out.
Siobhan?
Oh, I would say I'm going to go back to what I said and stop worrying about what everybody else thinks. Like, if I had a magic wand, I would just like remove that concern from everyone's brain.
And Eric?
Yeah, I would honestly say would give them something with the magic wand, and that's self-awareness. I think everything kind of
Oh,
starts with that. And you got to know yourself, and and then you can interact with others based on that knowledge of yourself and how you are and portray yourself to others and interact with others.
Eric, when you said that you were going to give them something, I was really hoping you were going to say like a hot fudge sundae or something. Sorry,
Yeah.
Siobhan. I know you probably don't need one of those right now, but
No, I don't need one of those either. I'm trying to lose weight.
I'm a fat guy. I always need one. So,
I always think of food, so I'm surprised I
yeah.
didn't say hot fudge sundae.
So, hey, to the three of you, thank you so much for being part of this. I've really enjoyed, and Trevor, you've been part of this for the last three. This is your third year with me,
Yes.
taking part of this, and this is honestly the conversations that we're having, the back and forth, the talking to each other. Siobhan, it's exactly what you said. We're learning how to talk. We're learning what each other needs, and I think that is very important in finding answers. Because my biggest concern in all of this is, and Trevor, I mentioned this yesterday in that meeting, we've done a great job on finding a acceptable name for shell shock with PTSD.
Yeah.
We've been told for a long time that we found, that we're doing so much better. Yet our suicide numbers are not showing that. Our suicide numbers are showing that there's a disconnect somewhere. And I think by talking, I think by communicating, and I think by giving self-worth, I think that those are three definite things that we can work on to shrink that number and actually make that difference, not just say we're making that difference. So I want to thank you three very much for your contribution in this. And everything that you guys have done to help me get this off the ground. Siobhan, how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, the best way is to find at Empower Women Veterans on social. You can, I kind of have a goal to get my YouTube channel up and running. So that's where I would love to connect with people, watch some videos, but also call me. That's my actual cell phone number. So please, 561-573-6175. I tell people I get spam callers. I would love to get someone who actually wants to talk to me.
Hey, you know what, Siobhan, let's discuss what we can do to help you with your YouTube channel. I'd love to get you on the PAC channel and help share some of your stuff. So let's definitely talk about that. Eric, how do we get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I guess the easiest way would be going to the website, Visor Rising, VISIR Rising.com, and then the number is 910-833-1041. And I've got like Siobhan, I've got some things in the works with social media and stuff, and trying to get that all up and running. But right now, VisorRising.com is the best option.
That's great. And Mr. Web Detective.
Well, there's a few ways to do that, and like Eric and Siobhan, next year we'll actually have the Web Detective website ready for this, so therefore you can get me there. But if you search for Trevor Gibbs, Web Detective, you'll find me on Facebook, you'll find me on LinkedIn and on Lineable. And as Zach's got on the screen, there are a couple of websites. Charity Revolution is something that I used to work with, which will be revamped. But the main one at the moment is just look at selectservicesllc.com. There's lots of buttons on there to connect with me, instant text message or whatever. And that's where you can probably find it. So if you haven't found me on social media, just think of a select service and llc.com and go to that contact page and you'll be connected. If not, ask Zach. He'll put you in contact with me.
Yep. And you can always find Trevor on our website, communitypayitforward.us. Thank you, all three of you. I would love to see you at the networking that's coming up right next. If you can, I know that everybody's a little busy, but if you can, join us. But thank you all three. for
Thank you.
contributing.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
All right. We'll talk to you all later. Thank you so much.
I would
Take
like
care.
to ask you to support our mission for Healthy Heroes by rocking some amazing t-shirts and hoodies. Every purchase helps fund vital programs for our heroes, making a real difference in their lives. And here's the exciting part. You can become a sponsor and have your logo added to the merchandise. Imagine your business or organization being proudly represented on apparel worn by supporters everywhere while showing your commitment to our heroes. These are more than just shirts and hoodies, they're a statement of support. So grab yours today and join us in making an impact. To sponsor or order, visit www.communitypayitforward.us/community-mission-for-healthy-heroes. Please help us build healthier tomorrows for our. Hi, I'm Zach Clayton, founder of Community Pay It Forward. We've created a unique way to turn everyday purchases into meaningful support for families, nonprofits, and community projects, along with so much more. Here's how it works. When you shop with our giving partners, small businesses and services everywhere, they share a portion of your sales to help people in need at no extra cost to you. It's so simple. Shop, click, and pick. Shop with one of our partners. Click a picture to submit your receipt and pick the cause you want to support. It's a win-win for everyone. Businesses get exposure and communities get the help they need while you enjoy your purchases. With Community Pay It Forward, every purchase has a purpose. Let's make a difference because no one needs to go it alone when we all come together. Whoever said ignorance is bliss never ran a business. Did you know the vast majority of businesses don't make their products accessible to people with disabilities? And did you know that the collective buying power of people with disabilities is over $2 trillion? And if you're a business owner, you need to know how to make your business accessible so you're not leaving this money on the table. I want to tell you about my family partners at Real Life Access, who can help you connect with this underserved market. Real Life Access clients experience 3 amazing things. First, a reputation for accessibility that brings customers to your door. Second, a freedom of worry about legal consequences from not being ADA compliant. And third, increased revenue. Real Life Access team members offer common sense accessibility solutions which won't break your budget. These are business people who understand the challenges faced by all small businesses. They are also people with disabilities who know what it takes to be accessible. Check out their courses, coaching packages, and so much more at reallifeaccess.com. You'll be glad you did. So that was one more episode that we are reloving. I decided to change the wording instead of reloving. I like that better. So, hey, was just looking at some of the stories that about people who, we're trying to learn more and keep updated on news and stuff about people who take their own lives every, whenever we can. And I'm looking here just at some of the people who took their lives in September and October. Everything from a 17-year-old kid who had a bright future to a 37-year-old man who served our country and was complaining about not feeling right and not getting the help he needs. We have a lot of work ahead of us. And that's what this is all about. Okay, so we need your support. The QR code that you see above us today, and I've decided I'm going to try to cut it with the moving QR codes around. I know that gets a little bit of that gets a little confusing, but the QR code today is there for those of you who run organizations or run programs that can support our heroes. Okay, if you run a program that is dedicating your lives and your services to people who need you to continue to live a better life, this is the QR code for you. Come and join us. Let us tell your story. Let us share your story. Let us tell people who you are and why you're doing what you do. Your story, your service could be so important to them, it could mean the difference between them being with us and them no longer being with us. Okay. So, with all sincerity, please allow us to tell people about you. So, um, I am getting excited because it's I let me restate that. I am getting anxious because it is coming up so very soon. We are, well, today's the 20th, so we got a little more than a month. We have a lot of open slots. Let's get them filled, okay? It's time to start doing this, and it's time to start getting thoughts into action. We've got to be done sitting around talking about stuff and start doing things. I want to thank you for joining Footprints Forward for this week. Again, we are going to finish out this month talking. Actually, you know what? We're going to finish out this until the 22nd. We are going to all Footprints Forwards are going to be designated for reloving past interviews with the program. Then starting in March, we're going to get started with the third anniversary of Footprints Forward. We're going to start with new shows starting then. So just giving some time to the interviews that we've had prior and giving a life to a show that we're hoping can change lives for other. Please remember to love somebody out there because somebody out here loves you. Make sure that you understand that if you're not helping someone, you're hurting everyone. No one needs to go it alone when we all come together. My name is Zach Clayton. You can get a hold of me, as you can see, at Zach, Z-A-K, at communitypayitforward.us. That's Z-A-K at communitypayitforward.us. I want to thank you so very much for joining us. Again, this has been Footprints Forward. We are getting ready for a mission for Healthy Heroes. We need your help. Please scan the QR code if you know an organization that works with helping individuals, law enforcement, community, or country. Okay, I don't care. If they're helping, we want to be part of it. We want to thank you very much. Again, thank you, Sam. Got my shirt, rocking it because autism rocks and rolls. Check them out. You can check out the interview that I did with them. A lot of fun. Sam did a great job putting it together. We'll see you next week right here on Footprints Forward.